Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by English Mountain Spring Water. English Mountain H2O is where you go to learn more about them. You just click the buttons right at the top of the website and you can find out whether or not they deliver to your area. Trust me, there's nothing better for your health than water. And if you want the best water from this area, natural, pure, tested daily, bottled within sight of the ancient spring and it bubbles up from, well, then you want English Mountain Spring Water. And in case you didn't hear it, Bob Hodge just glugged some next to me. Delivered to your home, delivered to your office. Give my friends in Dandridge a call this week. English Mountain Spring Water. We drink it on the set, and a lot of us have taken it back to our houses now where we have it delivered. English Mountain Spring Water. Okay, there are plenty of Vol stars that have passed away over the last 20 years. I always hate that about the Oscars when they put up the in memoriam. I mean, it's like, well, where's so-and-so?
Yeah.
So we're not going to list all the players and everything because inevitably we're going to forget somebody. So I just looked at Hall of Fame type figures that stood over the sport for years and years and years. And we've lost 3 of them over the last 20 years. And let's go ahead and put them up here. Ray Mears, Pat Summitt, and John Majors. When you take their contributions and add them together, and that's head coaching years for Mears, head coaching years for Summitt. Johnny Majors was a player, an assistant coach for 3 years, and a head coach. When you add all that up, you're talking 76 combined seasons that they have brought joy to Vol fans, 1,535 combined wins, and a winning percentage, 78.5. Hard to beat those 3, and just you've got 3 people whose names are pretty much synonymous with their sport. I mean, when you think Tennessee basketball, Pearl was beloved. DeVoe was the first to win a tournament game here. Barnes has done an unbelievable job. But it all goes back to Ray Mears. When you think women's college basketball, period, and maybe the best ambassador this university has ever had, including Peyton Manning, who is a tremendous ambassador, Pat Summitt is just, I don't know that any school's had a better representative than Pat Summitt was. And then, of course, John Majors, who, wasn't just a football player here, runner-up for the Heisman, absolute star, comes back here coming off an undefeated national championship team that went on for greatness, and he said, no, I'm going to leave and come rebuild my alma mater. These 3 hold a special place, and certainly should, for Tennessee fans.
I really think
If
you look at those, Ray Mears built, like you said, he built a basketball program. Johnny Majors rebuilt the football program. But what Pat Summitt did is amazing. I mean, when she passed, you had Gino Auriemma, who was maybe her biggest villain.
The biggest villain, yeah.
Talking about how he stands on the legacy that she built. So, I mean, her impact is not just here in Knoxville, and neither is Ray Mears or Johnny Majors for that matter, but what she did just all across.
Well, she helped build
Tennessee. They helped build
the sport, the whole shebang. And, of course, Coach Mears is the one that coined Big Orange Country. He didn't really get the credit or the trademark or whatever, but I mean, those are 3 really true legends, and I feel privileged to have been able to talk a little bit here and there to all 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I tell people how, and I love basketball, but I had the opportunity to excel in football. But I tell people when I go home and go around the country, go around the world, I shook Pat Summitt's hand. I shook her hand.
Right.
That's big. And people say, you knew her? Absolutely. To be able to say that as a man in my position coming from New Jersey, that's a big deal. So, for the Sports Source to be around those legends, and unfortunately they left us, but they don't leave us entirely because we have such fond memories.
Yep.
Johnny, and the Johnny Major isms, if you will.
And
those things.
The wind blows hardest at the top of the flagpole.
Riverside.
They remember what you do in November.
Yeah.
Can I say one funny thing about Ray Mears? Ray Mears, Coach Mears, is buried in the same cemetery where my family is buried. So I'm at that cemetery several times a year. Well, I pulled in years ago. And right there, you pull through the gate, and right there was a tombstone.
Right.
Coach
Ready
Ray
for it.
Mears coined the phrase Big Orange Country right there. I didn't even know Coach Mears had died.
He thought he had died.
And it was a decade
Yeah.
or longer before he had his tombstone in the cemetery, and I drove past it, and it probably took me like 3 times before I realized, okay, no, he hasn't. You know, you go
That's
back
like
6
you.
months later, and you go, oh, Ray Mears. No.
It's like he was like Nicolas Cage before Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage.
And there's usually
Buried
orange
in
and
New
white
Orleans.
shakers right there. Well, I go there about at least once a month, and there's usually orange and white shakers right there with it.
Yes,
Jimmy,
exactly.
You think
exactly.
about what Ray Mears overcame also. I mean, he dealt with the mental concerns, and he overcame that. Pat Summitt had to overcome, I guess, sort of the Title IX. That was around that time, and she was able to build that program the way she did. I remember interviewing Gino Auriemma when he came to her funeral, and he said UConn would have never been what it was without Pat Summitt. And then when you look at the impact of John Majors, you touched on it. As a player, as a coach, came back to rebuild the Tennessee program. I always enjoyed a relationship with him. He was he and Pat Summitt were two coaches that I probably enjoyed covering as many as any, just because they understood the media and always had a great relationship with
And
both.
dadgummit, Paul Horting should not have won that Heisman. Dadgummit.
Although Johnny would also tell you it should have been Jim Brown that won the Heisman in that era.
Yeah, he did.
All right. Hey, thanks to all these guys for being here today. I appreciate it. Thanks to all of you for watching the Sports Source today and for the last 20 years. We're going to do some more of these 20-year shows in the weeks ahead. But as we build our new set, if you're watching in July, that's what we're doing right now. I'm somewhere with a hammer. But many thanks for watching. Many thanks for supporting our sponsors. They're the ones who got us here this long a run. So thank you, thank them, and we'll see you right back here next week on the Sports Source.